I was asked to talk to you today about how my faith tradition or my own spirituality leads me to want to work to protect the environment, to care for creation, Mother Earth, climate justice. And it just seemed more appropriate to do that out here in the garden as opposed to in the church building. I have nothing against church buildings. I'm a Presbyterian pastor of all things. But this is where the journey begins. You know, one of the sad things I encounter rather frequently in my work is people come up to me and say, well, you know, I find God in nature. Now, that's not what makes me sad at all, for I share that sentiment. What makes me sad is somewhere along the way they've gotten the message from us that we who follow Jesus or who are part of a church or religious tradition somehow don't. And nothing could be further from the truth. So maybe it's time we do some remembering of where this journey comes from, whether it's a shared experience or a personal one. I'll start with my own. I grew up going to church and it was fine. And I mean that exactly as I said it. I thankfully was spared the traumatic religious upbringing that many had. But it wasn't gripping, I would say. It was just something I did. But that all changed when I started to attend as a young child an outdoor summer camp that happened to have a strong spiritual emphasis. And there, whether it was out under the trees at an outdoor chapel or sitting around a candle in the evening or running and playing and swimming and canoeing and all the things one does in that setting, through those relationships and the teachings and just the gift of being out there, I felt a sense of the sacred come alive. My faith meant something in a new way, and all of that gave me a lens that I could bring back to the traditional church. That's, in many ways, why I'm here. You know, people have been experiencing God or the divine or the sacred or flow in the natural world for as long as there have been people. Long before there were scriptures or religious institutions or buildings, people have been finding that there, here. You know, the Celts have a tradition of the two great books, the big book and the little book, both of which reveal God, the sacred, the way. I bet you know what one of them is from a Christian point of view. It's the Bible. And the Bible is called the little book, not because it has little to say, but simply because it is little, at least in comparison to the big book, which is creation itself. You see, both the big book and the little book are revelations of the one. The great Thomas Berry came to teach at Dominican, not far from here, some years ago. And when he did, picking up on this theme, he said, you know, it's time Christians put the big book away. It's time Christians put the Bible away for about 30 years, put it back on the shelf, and go out and experience a God again in the world. And I think some thought this might get him in some trouble. Good trouble, you might call it, but trouble nonetheless. But in fact, people were hungry for that word. They'd been putting up their Bibles anyway. But to be given permission to go seek the divine where they always knew it was, that lit something within them. Someone I consider a teacher of my own, John Philip Newell, who teaches out of the Celtic tradition, born of the Christian household, often retells when he talks this great Celtic image of John the Beloved at the Last Supper, leaning so close to Jesus upon his very breast that he could hear the heartbeat of God. And John then becomes an image for the rest of us to listen for the heartbeat of God in all beings and in all things. Well, I've avoided the question, you might say. How has all of this led me to want to care for this, protect it, work, even fight for it? I suppose I could say, well, it's because we are commanded to do so in the scriptures, which we were. I could say because the earth, the creation, all this is our life support system, and it is. I could say because we know the most vulnerable will be hurt the soonest and the worst by the exploitation and degradation of the natural world. All that's true. But the real reason is because all of this was born of love. It's all a miracle. It's all incredible. It's all beautiful. And if we believe we're to follow in the divine way, then we must do what the divine does, which is to love and make more room for others to love. So you don't really need me to teach you anything. You already know it, and you can trust it. Your experience, the discerned wisdom of your people, you already have that within you and around you and between you and those in whom you're in right relationship. And all of it is calling us to get back into right relationship. And if you're not sure where to begin, or you're stuck, or you're not sure where to find the energy to carry on, maybe just get outside, immerse yourself in the big book, and let it reveal the way. God's peace, and be well.